So hey guys, you guys know that I'm super crazy right now, and I'm just trying to basically come up with some kind of peace. For some reason, I don't really let things sit on me, but when they do, it's important for me as a person to figure out or try to figure out in my heart and come up with closure to whatever it is that I'm feeling. So um in my last two videos, I kind of explained to you guys that there's definitely a bigger picture um, than what we as people are acknowledging. And, to say the least, we are coming into some very, I would say, good things if you get on the right path. And it's showing in everything, okay? And the way that God works is I guess I'll say Yahweh. Now, it's so hard to unlearn things that you've already learned, but the way the King of Israel, the Hebrew God, works is that he gets our attention in ways that are going to uh, like that are going to be effective, let's just say. So there's definitely a bigger message behind Nipsey Hussle, and I hope you guys get that. Like, I really have been like going so deep and in depth and asking our Heavenly Father for, the knowledge that I'm receiving. And he says, seek and you'll find. And this isn't just on a biblical note, but because the bigger picture is what we are entering, how the world is basically in its shifts for what we as good people have been waiting for. But the deception also and dark forces are also in their shifts and trying to battle that, and it's been that way. So anyways, I wanted to go back with Nipsey and talk about the Oath of Nimrod. And this is very significant for you guys to understand, and I really want you guys to do your own research. And the Oath of Nimrod is basically when you sign record deals and things like that, whether you know it or not, you're under oath. Everything is made like government. The whole point for the higher powers is to have their own government. That's what Satan wanted to do. He wanted to rule, right? Okay. So, anyways, the Oath of Nimrod is very significant. Okay. If you guys have not researched to understand what Nimrod means, the Nimrod in general, the known Hebrew story, the beginning, I mean, of the Hebrew Bible and many Bibles, because remember, they have taken the original text and they have distorted it down the lines from starting with Hebrew to, I believe, Greek to Latin to English. And from there, they have distorted it in a manner to fit them, but still it has to be canonical enough that it makes sense. And many scholars come together and say, okay, this is what it is. And this is what we're going to accept as a proof. So it goes down, think about it. The game telephone, you tell one person something, by the time it gets to the 10th person, the message is distorted. All right, that's the Bible. So the true Bible is the Hebrew Bible. And those manuscripts have actually been found and investigated, and before they could not read it. And finally, they've been able to read the Leviticus, which is like in the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses. And they're able to identify that in the Hebrew Bible and those ancient manuscripts. They were accurate 100%. Anyways, that's a different story. You guys can read that. But as far as the Hebrew Bible and the Bibles that we have, there is some truth into it, and that's why in scripture it does say that there's truth into it, right? But God is definitely going to keep his final truth also in our worlds, right? So anyways, to go to Nipsey and the Oath of Nimrod that you have to accept whenever you become in a platform or in a business or knowledge as in science or anything innovative or creative that is strong enough to change the world, you are required to sign what is called an Oath of Nimrod. And that's basically to be quiet, shut the fuck up, don't tell anyone what's going on or the knowledge that you know. We're a capitalist world. We do not want communism. We do not want great health. We do not want unity. You know, it's just great deception. That's why these people are bad, but they portray to be good, and they do things like great amounts of charity and a lot of anonymous things um that we that are hidden and good, right? So they do good. You'll see that. But the wicked things and the main point is hidden, okay? So I need you guys to understand, so I keep going back and forth. So the Oath of Nimrod. Anyone in any higher power to have any purpose or change in our world has to sign an Oath of Nimrod. Okay? It's a part of the Illuminati, or if you don't want to call it the Illuminati, the rulers of the world, the 13 descendants of Satan, right? The Nimrods of today's world. Please research King Nimrod, right? So I'm going to kind of go over to you how the significance of what the Oath of Nimrod is that these Masons and illuminated people make these artists and actors and great business, commercial, corporate owners sign is something that is serious. It's like, okay, well, if you violate this, this is death, okay? And it's obvious. You can find the truth in this. Don't believe me, okay? So basically, I took some notes because so much, I've been learning so much. I knew a lot and it just connected everything like, wow, like, I don't even want to open my eyes to this shit, but whatever. So Nimrod was a king in the Bible. In Genesis 11, chapter 11, they talk about this great mighty king Nimrod. He had great things. He did many things. He built many cities. He was a great king, right? God had good and bad kings, but he also gave mercy to all of them, right? So, anyways, Nimrod was a really good, great king, but he was a tyrant to God, basically, meaning like he was against him, like mightily. So, Yahweh, of course, he's the king, and Nimrod wanted to follow, Satan's orders because, it's Satan basically being over the earth, right? The world. God is in a different place he's the all living God, but his existence I can't even begin to explain. But as far as the earth is concerned, Satan was kicked out of heaven with the attempt to rule the earth. So you guys have to put the bigger picture together, especially if you guys have read the Bible or are Christians, even if the Christian Bible is a mockery of the Hebrew uh, word or whatever, it's still some truth to it, okay? The New Testament is like sun worship, really. The Old Testament is pretty much a translation of the original Hebrew Bible. The New Testament came in the Constantine era when he decided that he was gonna, come up with this grand idea to produce a Roman Greek Jew God named as Jesus. Now we have a Messiah, but his name, according to what I have studied so intensely, is not Jesus, it's Yahshua. I don't even want to say it wrong, but it's the Hebrew name. And even though we say, oh, it's just a translation, no. In the Hebrew Bible, he says that that's violating the third commandment, using my name in vain. We're calling to another God. We're worshiping another. people say all the time, oh, the name doesn't matter. Yes, the name does. It says very clearly in the Hebrew text, Old Testament, that the name, do not take my name in vain. So it was meant for us to know the true name so we know true worship. Period. Dot. Anyways, Yahweh, well, it's YHWH. Um, there was no, what is it? Vowels in those days. Okay, so anyways, basically, so to get back to Nimrod, I don't want to go off. I want you guys to understand everything. The Oath of Nimrod is what all the bigger people in the world, like archaeologists, music artists, entertainers, um, philanthropists, um, anthropologists, all the big guys that have researched enough to understand the truth. Okay. So they're under an oath of Nimrod, and Nimrod was a mighty man that was against God. So why would these people be under this oath if these higher people are not under the deception, the world deception of Satan? Period. So Nimrod's whole thing was to develop a world government. He believed that the knowledge that God did not want us to obtain was secret knowledge, and basically the knowledge to be a God. That's the point. So Nimrod basically tried to build a temple to the heavens, with intention of defiance to God. And when God seen this, God was pissed, basically. And so Nimrod was cursed. And everyone, the craftsman that was building this temple, then began to speak different languages, and they thought each other were crazy because they're like, what are you saying? Well, no, what are you saying, basically? And so when they did that, God spread them across the world because he knew that they were trying to obtain the knowledge of what in the Bible they say Elohim, God or gods, right? That was Nimrod's purpose, to be a God of the world, to govern the world, right? That's what the big people's powers are, to govern the world. That's why you see so much symbology, the all-seeing eye, and the snake. You see the triangle, and which I can talk further about how all that represents stuff, but it doesn't necessarily go with this Nipsey thing. So anyways, the point of the Oath of Nimrod that you have to sign when you sign a big deal is to say that I'm a part of the people who want to run the world and be gods. And these people trick you to believe that you can, and your point of life is to enter into a state via this mystic, Gnostic knowledge. And you become a god, and you have your servants under you. So anyways, Nimrod taught that for many years to the people, and he was the one that tried to build the Tower of Babel up to the heavens, and God cursed his people, changed their languages, and scattered them amongst the world, okay? And Nimrod happens to be from the genealogy of Ham, in which they say Ham are the black cursed people. But actually, I have read in Genesis, I forget, but Genesis, let me see really quick. All right, so I also read in Genesis that Abraham was the genealogy of Shem, and if Abraham was the genealogy of Shem, then that means Abraham was the promise of David, and the promise of David is given to the Israels. So even though they say that we are cursed by the curses of Ham, which is in Jeremiah 43, chapter 43, remember, look this stuff up, you guys. Jeremiah 43 basically tells the curse, and they're saying this is of Ham because Ham exposed his father Noah's nakedness, and that's why Black people are cursed. However, if you read in Genesis 11, you'll see that actually the Israel people are the genealogy of Shem, and Shem is one of Noah's sons. He had Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that it's twisted. They have twisted our minds and deceived Black people to believe that the curse of Ham, which is for the evil people, is really the curse that Black people deserve because they were following the Egyptians. But really, Ham and his lineage are not the Black people of Israel that were following the curse. I mean, that was okay. Let me back it up. All right. So when this whole world was destroyed, right? Okay. The new people was Noah and his family of 8. Okay. Noah eventually had kids, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. I hope I'm saying it right. There is a curse on Noah's son Ham because they're saying that Ham was cursed with slaving under Shem and Japheth because he uncovered his father Noah's nakedness when Noah was drunk from the vineyards of grape that he turned into wine, basically. So the people, religion, all that, accept slavery of Black people because they say Black people come from the genealogy of Ham, where the truth and it also says in the Bible that Ham was cursed, and that's why Ham will serve Shem and Japheth, right? But in Genesis 11, right? Genesis 11 states that Abraham is the genealogy of Shem, and Abraham actually is the father of Israel, right? Which is Jacob, Isaac's son, right? It's Isaac's son is the 12 tribes of Jacob, right? And yeah, okay, so Noah, right? He had Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? So Ham, already told you about Ham and his curse in Jeremiah 43, right? And which supposedly Black people are supposed to accept this curse because the Bible says it was placed on Ham. And they're trying to say that Ham genealogy were the Black people. However, in Genesis 11, it says that that Shem, which is Noah's son, right? He had 3. Abraham comes from the genealogy of Shem. Abraham has the sons Isaac and Jacob, right? Jacob renames Israel, which Israel is the 12 sons, 12 tribes of Jacob, which that genealogy dates back to Abraham. Abraham's genealogy dates back to Shem. Shem was blessed with Noah's, the first man after the flood when the whole world restarted. So Shem was actually blessed with Noah's Shem was blessed with Noah's promises, right? Remember, because Ham was supposed to get the promises, right? But he cursed himself, right? So then Noah, his father, the first man after the flood, gave the blessings to Abraham. To Shem. Abraham is from the Shem genealogy. Black people are from Shem's genealogy, not Ham's, which are the cursed people in Jeremiah 43. We are being deceived tremendously. And I'm going to go back to why this goes back to Nipsey, okay? So we're actually, our Black people, right? The jewels of Israel, right? The African Americans, right? Because those were the ones obviously scattered, right? We're in a nation outside of our home, right? So we actually come from the genealogy of Shem. Abraham is a part of Shem, not part of the cursed genealogy of Ham, recorded in Jeremiah 43. So Genesis 11 explains that Abraham is the genealogy of Shem, and Japheth was the one under Shem. Okay, and Ham's genealogy was to serve Shem, the Abrahamic people, the Abrahamic religion. God took Abraham out of his father Noah's lands because they became deceptive. Okay, Nimrod came from the genealogy, right, of Ham. You guys can find all this stuff out if you research. Nimrod, just type in, did Nimrod come from the genealogy of Ham? And was all that from Noah? Yeah, because Noah was the second. After the world was destroyed by the flood, Noah was the only one left in his family. So we have to base our history on Noah and what happened to Noah. And this is important, not in just a biblical sense, but it's to know who you are. Because until you know who you are, you're going to be under the slavery of Jeremiah 43. Go read it. Period. Dot. Go read it. The Hebrew text is the oldest manuscript that has been basically recorded. Everything else comes from that. Like there's one from the Christians, which was about 1400 years ago. And don't get it confused. You have to type in the Hebrew manuscript. Was it the first one? What's going on with that? Was it true? Where are the Dead Sea Scrolls? Are those true? Right? We can only go by what we know by history and research and national books. Books out of the national libraries. And you can find that online. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to leave your house. Okay? So you need to find out who you are to understand the war that we are under as a people. Okay? And I'm talking about all of us. There was never race before, okay? But we need to understand who the wicked people are. And it's a sad thing that from the looks of it, the wicked people happen to be many different colors. Now take another. It's about understanding. Now think about this. Who your tribe is, so you know that you're not cursed and you do not deserve this shit, and that you need to figure out the truth. You need to go back and figure out the truth, okay? The Egyptian religion that we are seeing a lot of now is idol worship, period. And yes, Egyptian was part of the first, basically the cradle of civilization, but they're the cradle of civilization for the evil people of the world, idol worshipers, okay? They're the other people, the opposers. God told us we have opposers on this world, right? Who are they? Right? What do they do? How are they deceiving us? Right? Think about it. Who are these people and how are they deceiving us? There's 7 societal influences. Go research them, and then from there determine who is over those societal influences. Who's over music? Who's over history? Who's over this? Okay, and it'll all go back to the 13 bloodlines of Satan. Period. And that is the rulers of the world. The goal of Satan is to rule the earth, not some ancient Mars or Jupiter. No, to rule where you live. Who is ruling it? And what type of rule are they setting? and what is really going on. Wake the fuck up. So, anyways, in order to explain Nimrod, you have to understand the whole bigger picture. And the Oath of Nimrod is what these artists and these entertainers and all these people that are influencing the world through the 7 societal influences, who are they? And what is their background, and where's the good at, right? Beyond the charity services and stuff, because they do charity services and they fund hospitals and things like that so they can have control over those big elements for all kinds of testing and experiments. Research CIA and the experiments and testing. Read the History Channel and connect that to the Bible. Basically, what they're trying to figure out is how to destroy the world if order out of chaos does not work, and start a new world, because there has been quotes about how in order to start something, you need to destroy everyone and start over, right? And they're trying to figure out how to be immortal. They want to be like gods. They want to prove that they are gods. Okay, that's the whole point. And this is why it's important to really like take heed to all of this, right? And I'm going this in depth because I am deep. This is just who I am. And in order to understand why all of our most influential good people, because everyone's always like, why do good people die so early? Why in the hell do you think good people die so early? What the fuck? Like, are you not paying attention? If you go read Martin Luther's quote and Abraham Lincoln's and whatever, and how when they were assassinated are, presidents that were assassinated, think about some of the things they said and how after that they were assassinated. Go read the CIA's manual of assassination. All this stuff is there. It's right in our face, okay? And that's why they only fuck with the creative, innovative, wealthy, knowledgeable people, because they know that the sheeps, we don't need to say anything to do anything. We know that they're sheeple. Look, we're putting it in the TV symbolism, the agendas of all kinds of unnatural things that we approve of, all that. They put it in our movies, national security, the Matrix, what else, you know? So, anyways, I'm running out of time trying to explain that I need you guys to see the bigger picture so I can break down this Nipsey Hussle thing in a different way than what you guys may understand it. And at the same point, try to kind of get a message to you guys so you guys can kind of open your eyes to why people like this are killed. Why was Michael Jackson's reputation, in which I don't know what he did, but why was it ruined after he tried to come out? Why did Kanye end up hospitalized and a new person when he came out of the hospital? And what happened to Whitney when she was trying to say shit? Like, you guys have to look, and I'm just saying celebrities because that's who we're mainly influenced by. And I know if I said some president or this or that, you would know probably who that was, because I don't even know. And I've been going to school for 15 years. I love school. I don't know why, but I love the truth, so I'm always seeking it. So, anyways, the Oath of Nimrod it's so important for me to explain this to you guys, and I want you guys to do your own research, because it's going to allow you to understand why, even though we might think it's so simple, but why the most influential men of our earth, our world as we know it, are killed. And why are those people usually the good people, or why is their reputation ruined by crazy things like Cosby after he tried to expose these people? Like, why does it happen? Some presidents. I mean, if you guys do your further research, you'll be able to understand. So I'm going to go on to my 4th video, and I can't do this all the time. So I just want to break it all the way down. I promise I'll probably have like 3-4 more videos worth of 30 minutes, and I just want you guys to listen to me because you guys will learn such a bigger message. And even if it's not listening to me, listen to yourselves and take this in and go research some things, some points that I have said. Nothing that I'm saying is inaccurate or just out of my mind or, oh, this bitch crazy. She thinks she's psychic. No, this is from firm research, okay? From days and nights of this, like from the Bible to Nipsey to other things that I am bothered by or that I'm interested in or whatever. I really go into depth. So if I'm talking about something, it's something that I really believe at least 99.9% is accurate, and there's a great amount of context that is accurate that I feel you guys could find yourselves to affirm the accuracy of it. Okay. And that's it. So I'm gonna do one more video tonight, and then I'm gonna kind of do a couple of them. I have to really give it up for Nipsey. He's a king, and his death was not in vain. He was trying to give a better message to the world and the community, and he was never given the chance to even say what he really wanted to say, because when he realized he couldn't really say what he wanted to say, he was assassinated. And he knew there was only minimal of what he started to see and understand. If you listen to Higher, he basically says, like, at first I was playing chess. Go research chess. That's a whole nother video. I don't even want to go there. And who created chess. And once you figure out who the creators of chess are, the illuminated people, okay? And you understand the game, right? The game, the theme of the game, the opponent's job is to basically take over the other king and completely make him gone, done with, right? It says that, right? If you go just Google simply what is chess, define the game chess, it'll say that. And Nipsey said a lot in the beginning of his songs and his first album, Victory Lap. I'm playing chess, not checkers. Basically, his goal was to conquer the other king, right? Whoever he thought that was against him, let's just say, right? But the other king really is the creator. So it was never the chance that that was going to happen. And if you listen to Higher, he says it different. He says, I thought I was playing chess, or basically to that instant, I thought I was playing chess, but realized it was God's grace. Meaning, like, I thought that my job was to conquer that other king, but I realized the reason why I'm where I'm at is because of God's grace. And other songs, he even thought he was the master of his fate, basically meaning I have control over myself, right? But in Higher, he explains this was God's grace, right? He understood. He even says something to the effects that I thought at first it was like getting over on everybody pretty much to make sure all my people were straight. And then I realized that shit was fake. Okay? So come on. Nipsey started to realize that shit was fake. Period. And he started to tell us, and he's telling us a story, and that's what he was doing for that purpose. You know what I'm saying? He was telling us a story in all of his music. And even though he could not say much and didn't realize that until things happened the way that they did, he wanted to tell us something. And it's going to take for you guys to read and go through a lot of Nipsey shit, like his video, his interviews, his Twitter, you know, just so many of those things to even understand where he was. But the message that I'm getting to you guys is that the death of Nipsey is not to be ignored as a simple thing. It is beyond us. It's a message so deep that if you guys don't get it together, come on. This isn't the end of this. Our war is against the higher powers, the rulers, the ones that want to govern the world. And those people are of Satan, Lucifer. If you research the telescope of the Vatican, you'll learn the name is Lucifer. This is sun worship that is going on, and their goal is to deceive all of us through all these forms of deception, with religion being the number one, as there's over 1 point something billion Christians and other religions that are false and that are worshiping the sun. Okay, sun worship. So the picture is so far beyond the basis of what we're looking at. Nipsey was murdered because they felt like he was dangerous, that he potentially knew some secrets, and he had the platform to change that. So anyways, I don't know, but I'm not going to go long in the video because I realized that we have a low attention span. I never even wanted to go this far. And so I'm taking time to kind of slowly kind of empty this information out because it's a lot for me too. You know, I'm understanding and connecting knowledge that I've already had and wisdom that I've already had. And I'm seeking God for me to release this. Not release it in a way of nothing bad, but release it as in a way that I can break it down in elementary terms where you guys understand that Nipsey's death was not Eric Holder. It was not some jealous guy that was just like, fuck you, Nip, man, you don't want to play my CDs, nigga, fuck you. I'm just gonna shoot you 5 times and 1 in the head. And there's so many things that I can tell you guys that will probably wake you guys up if you guys went and try to learn. But Nipsey's murder was very much so a higher power hit, and they show their job being done to let other people know that are in their higher power community that this came from us without even having to place a telephone call, by symbology and numbers and things like that. So if you don't know how to decode numbers, if you don't know that they use ancient symbology, if you don't know that they use the secret mysteries of ancient time to run the world and to confuse us and to make us crazy, then you're not going to understand. And if you don't believe that, you're not going to understand. But religion is number one, the number one deceptive thing that they're doing. And it's so important. And the Oath of Nimrod tells you that. If you understand the Oath of Nimrod and you see that that's an oath for all the bigger people, and you go research the history of Nimrod, you're going to see why they have an Oath of Nimrod and why Solomon is a big deal also in their religious whatever. And how Solomon even relates to Hiram Abiff, in which if you looked at their temples, you'll see, or if you know about the higher people, you'll know that Hiram Abiff is connection with Solomon. And Solomon built the temple that they worship Baal out of, Baal, whatever, that false god, the god of idols, basically, okay? So if you compare them to these people and things that I'm telling you about, you'll wonder, well, why are they so obsessed with the King Solomon? Why are they so obsessed with Nimrod? Nimrod is basically exactly who they are. And everything just goes down from king to king to king to king to kingdom to kingdom to kingdom, nation, nation, nation. And it just changes. Like the gods are pantheon gods, which the Greeks took it from Hebrews and turned the Hebrew gods into their gods, the Greek gods. And then the Greeks from the Latin, I don't really know much about Latin, how that translation kind of worked. And then the Romans took all the Greek gods and turned it to their gods. And basically we exist pretty much off the Roman Empire. Like the Jesus that we know him in that picture that we see is actually the Roman Jew. Like Jesus is a Jew. He's a Hebrew Jew, right? He's the king of Israel. He's going to come out of Israel. But he's not what we know him to be. And Nimrod, if you go into that story, had a wife which was called the Queen of Heaven. And she had a mystery baby when he died. And that's how the mystery baby, who they call Jesus, right, is the way to deceive and keep Nimrod's legacy of false idol worship and going against God and having a kingdom on earth continued through his wife, which is the whore of Babylon, basically. It's just names that change. But Nimrod's wife, if you research, don't listen to me, is the reason why Nimrod's legacy lives on. Okay. She's the reason. The queen, her name is Ishtar. She's the fertility god. We serve her on Christmas and Easter and on Good Fridays. We just don't know the biggest holidays, right? We serve her. We keep Nimrod's legacy going. And there is false religion in all of our religions as we know them here, right? Here on earth. Okay? Because falseness, the devil's job was to deceive us, and it's been over 4,000 years. Okay? And God gave him 6,000 years to deceive us if you go and read into the Bible. Anyways, I'm super tired, but I'm going to finish off the Oath of Nimrod because this is important. This is the oath that is signed. I don't care what nobody say. Even if they don't know it. The Cardi B's and all the people that come from being nothing to all of a sudden big, they sign a contract, okay, you guys? And they're under an oath, and the oath is called the Oath of Nimrod. And the homie Nipsey just wasn't gonna follow that shit. And it potentially either caused one or two things. Him to be murdered by an orchestrated setup, okay, or what they thought was. They don't really have to be that super secret because we're stupid, okay? So they know that. Or Nipsey, and I want you to research what this is, had to go under what is called an allegorical ritual, right? Because they like allegorical rituals, like plays of false things that don't happen or crazy things that happen. They love that. And what they required of him was to fake his death. And which I don't want to say that about the homie. And if it did, it wasn't because he wanted to fake his death, but he had to. And it can possibly be, right? These are just my speculations after going so in depth that they wanted, maybe this was just a thought because I'm like, why would they make him fake his death? Either they murdered him and orchestrated the assassination, or he had to do an allegorical ritual as an initiation. But Nipsey was such a true stand-up type of king that unless he was forced, I don't see him doing those type of things. And if he did, it would have probably been to pay off that advance that you get when you sign to those big people under the Oath of Nimrod. And that's how they get you. You pay us, we kill you, or you don't do this, we gonna kill you, whatever. That's how it works, okay? These are like gangsters, but like authoritative gangsters that have lots of coverage to keep them from looking like the real gangsters are anonymous, right? The real rulers are anonymous, right? Everybody else are just the pawns that do the work, okay? Period. So, anyways, I was going to tell you guys allegorical rituals. Research it. Allegorical rituals. There's a lot of what they call allegory, like basically they kind of call the Bible allegorical because they're like stories, right? And they make people perform scary rituals and scary shit. And the point is, like, sometimes you end up like that's the way of saying, like, we did this, but let's see if you ever tell anybody. Because if you tell that secret, we'll know if we can trust you or not. And then from there, we do what we do. So, anyways, I want you guys to research allegorical rituals. Now, like I said, it was an orchestrated assassination, right? Because of the influence that Nipsey had upon us, or it was an allegorical ritual, and the king that I know, I don't really know him, but that king that I know through his music, his interviews, and all that, um, wouldn't have done that to deceive us. If he did, like people are saying, he faked his death, then he had to, okay? Either to pay back that advance that he was given or to save his life because they were going to kill him, or they forced him to, because I have even read that they have forced people to basically take their cells, or they're basically going to keep torturing them in other ways and then eventually kill them anyways. So anyways, okay, so I'm beyond, but research allegorical rituals and how it works with these bigger higher powers, and research the Oath of Nimrod, and then research Nimrod, then research Ishtar, which is Easter in English basically. She is the queen of heaven, supposedly, right? It's idol worship. And she is the start of this false religion. And she birthed this celestial Jesus, right? Basically, if you read about it, it says that Jesus came from um, the because her husband died, obviously, right? So she was basically a widow. So the way that she said she had Jesus was like basically her God put him in her. Like she's the Mother Mary that the Catholics worship, basically. Okay, the names just change as history kind of goes, right? They change the names, like Egypt and things like that. They're like in Asia. Israel's in Asia now, but it was never in Asia before. Pay attention to this shit. Anyways, the queen of heaven, right? Ishtar, which is Easter, we celebrate her birth and resurrection. So the enemy is a woman, I believe, the whore of Babylon. She basically produces this sun that came from celestial planets. And she tells the world this, and this is how she keeps on Nimrod's legacy. And this sun is the Roman Jew Jesus. Okay. They just kind of the names change. That's why God in the third commandment says, do not take his name in vain, because otherwise you may be worshiping something that is not the truth, right? So the oath of Nimrod is what the people have to take when they join any force of influence, or if they have a good amount of wealth or whatever. And that oath basically is the other side of the good. And Nimrod was the other side of Yahweh. He was against him. He was rebellious. He wanted a world government. Okay. So go do your research on Ishtar, Nimrod, allegorical rituals, the Illuminati, Freemasons. You don't have to go that far, but just on the basis of what I told you guys today, go research those points that I just told you, and you guys will understand why the oath of Nimrod and a violation of that oath is the reason why many celebrity business people, corporate people, scientists, any people that rebelled against these people and the higher powers, the ones that run the world via money, religion, this and that, anyone that violates them, how they end up in death. Okay? That is important. And that is why our brother passed. He did not pass from Eric Holder. And last thing, like I told you guys about allegorical rituals, they like to do like stories, plays, right? Eric Holder just happens to be the former United States General in Obama's office, right? Eric Holder is the one that supposedly killed Nip. Why is his name, they do things in mockery. Why is his name the same name as the United States Attorney General? Then the United States Attorney General is over all legal affairs, meaning that he has a right to justify, or he's over the legal affairs, right? So Eric Holder, Attorney General Eric Holder, which is over all legal affairs, Eric Holder, some jealous guy, kills him. There's significance to that and why Eric Holder is the one. I'm telling you. Not only that, Herman Douglas. I love you, Herman. I love everyone. I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you that they do certain things like to if you don't know, then you don't understand. So Herm is supposedly the guy cowboy that's supposed to have been the one that is a part, I mean, that people are trying to say is a part of this assassination thing with Nipsey. And who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to even go there about that kind of stuff, because a lot of people, if they were, they could have been influenced. MK Ultra is real. Freaking government experiments are real. Anyways, I won't even blame or say anyone. If anybody did anything like that and was a part of it, it was because we need to pray for them. It was because they were manipulated and deceived or whatever. We shouldn't be against them. We need to pray for whoever was a part of this shit. Because there were a lot of people a part of it, but who's to say who? And anything that becomes a conspiracy, what people try to always be like, no, it's not right. It's not possible. Eric Holder killed it. Sorry, I had to get ugly right there. People will deny anyways and be like, that girl's crazy. No, that's how it works. We're sheeple, you guys. Duh. So on back to Herman. Okay. And I want you guys to look this up. Don't take my fucking word. Herman Douglas. He is a big part of this case, right? Everyone else, I mean, not everyone else. Kerry Lathan was the eyewitness to the case, right? He can't say anything because he's on parole. Let's just say that being his reason. But Herman isn't obviously on parole or anything like that, right? He is a witness, but he's been able to speak. Why can't any other witnesses speak if it's so like witness protection? If Herman Douglas is able to speak, trust me, this is some real shit going on. But I'm not saying anybody's a part of anything, but I want you guys to research this because the bigger people do things in plays and significance and symbology, right? And numbers. Come on, they have to trick us. So, Herman Douglas, right? Herman Douglas, in which I pray nothing. Herman, you're good. I love you. If you guys go research Herman, who the god Herman is, Mount Herman, right? Douglas, Mount Herman, right? They give us clues, is basically where they worship Baal. And Baal is Satan, Lucifer. And so there's a lot of religious symbology in Nipsey's case too. Not only just numbers, they play stories. Go research what allegorical rituals are and who does it, right? They do lots of rituals and stories. So this is a story. They put this story together. This was orchestrated. Okay, but I don't know shit. I don't know anything. I don't know. And I really don't. I don't know. I know the same exact thing you know. Everything that I'm telling you right now, and you guys can go research and go find out for yourself. I went over my 30 minutes. I know you guys aren't going to listen to me, but you guys better listen to me all the way through 52 minutes and go put me on an audio and listen to me in your car and hear what I'm saying and go do your research and don't take my word, but just hear me as the messenger or whatever. Don't even take my word. Just listen to the words that I'm saying, the research, putting it together, and then think about what I'm saying and put that shit together. Even if this don't affect you and be like, that Nipsey, she's trying to connect some shit to Nipsey. Okay. First off, I love Nip. There's nothing about this that is about any kind of anything that I want from this, but besides to do what my brother said, ride for him. And I'm writing for him. I'm not writing for him and violence and any of that angry, evil stuff that the evil people need, so they can feed off of us and do bad things. Because order out of chaos is how they make order, right? So us not giving them what they want is the most best thing that we can do. But anyways, like getting knowledge and understanding is basically what Nip was trying to give us. So what? Why not? And then why not share it with you guys and you guys figure out for yourself the truth or not. But I've gone beyond my time and I really need to talk to you guys about Nimrod and that other side, and I want you guys to try to figure out who they are so you guys understand what we're fighting against, so you guys can work your forces and your energies in a different way, and you guys can also understand what our brother Nipsey was fighting against and how his passing was a shift in a lot of people. And We don't know why, but it was. It was a shift in a good way, and some people even after in a bad way. I had listened to some of his music. I'm like, oh, he probably made a lot of rap niggas mad because he said he ain't nothing like no rap niggas, and basically told y'all, like he ain't about that life, and he was about other positive things because he sees the world in a bigger picture. He said, I see it in a bird's view, basically, meaning I see the whole world as a whole. And so I'm trying to give it back to you guys how my brother basically was starting to see the world so that you guys can understand what he died for and we can progress and try to change or shift the world because we're in a world of duality of good and bad, good and evil, right? Everything has an opposing side. There's good and bad to everything. But in God's spiritual oneness, we have a world that is non dual, which is all positive, right? And we have to reach those frequencies of a non dual world so we can become into a wholeness with God. And the way that we do that is by changing who we are as people. And I'm going to say deuces and then maybe talk to you guys about the Oath of Nimrod in another day because I was supposed to give this up 30 minutes ago. But sometimes there's so much you want to say, but you need to take it slow in order to get people to listen because people don't want to listen that long. But I'm breaking it down to you in the most elementary terms, and I want you guys to go figure it out for yourselves. But please hear me out. And so sooner or later, I'll do a part 4 and 5 and 6. Hopefully, I can sum it up like at 7. I don't want to do no 6 numbers at 7. And just kind of stay within 30 minutes so that way I can keep you guys' attention. And like I said, this is the bigger picture. So if you don't want to know the bigger picture from uh, someone that has really went into depths and a lot of studies, and I've attended school for 15 years. I've studied world religions. I've studied politics. I've studied health. I've studied anything, the Bible, so many things. So I'm just not saying this out of my ass, okay? And I just hope that you guys hear me. And I'm going to pray to our God Yahweh that you guys do hear me. And I just need you guys to know before I leave this message that the name Jesus is our great deception. And our God is the Hebrew God. And Jesus is sun worship. God says that the way that we know what is the truth is by basically symbology, images. And Jesus is a great big image. And not only that, Jesus makes a lot of money. And God even talks about that in his church. Like, you guys are making money off me, basically. So just think about those things, you know. So our great deception is the name Jesus, and the Antichrist is basically a man, and the number of a man is 666. And if you guys went into further uh, empirical evidence, the number 666 represents 6 neutrons, 6 protons, 6 electrons. That's what we're made of carbon. The human is 666. So he says the number of the beast is 666. A human is made of 6 electrons, 6 protons, and 6 neutrons. So we're looking for evil stuff to come out of maybe some aliens. But the Nephilims, the beasts, are here on Earth and they're human. Go research the god Hu, like how you be like, Hu, right? Like how you take a deep breath, because he calls himself Hu as a saying that he gives you the breath of life. Hu, the idol god that the bigger people worship. That's why we're called humans, right? Human, right? Human, because the bigger people of the world that created all this shit, right? In the world, not really created it, but mocked it. They worship the god Hu, Hu. So if you go deep into what the deception is, you'll be crazy. And the way that they try to become gods is by this thing called Kundalini. Kundalini, Kundalini. If you guys go check out my Twitter, that's where I kind of get all these damn thoughts out of my head, because I'm sick. Like, I go to school so much, I learn so much, it's like I need to release it, so I just tweet everything. But my Twitter talks a lot about this stuff. It's at Chief Executive, and executive is spelled Xecutive, Chief, Chief, Chief Executive. And it talks a lot about a lot of my thoughts and things like this. So, but anyways, Hugh, go research that God too and see who he is and how we are living under that. We are worshiping in all of our religions the sun god, the solar deities. God is pissed off. And until we get back to God and his ways, we're going to be further. It's going to take longer for the Messiah to turn his back from us. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So go read Genesis 11. Find out that you Black people are from the ancestry of Shem. Shem, Abraham is from Shem's genealogy. Noah's son, Shem. The cursed people are from the genealogy of Ham, Jeremiah 43. Okay? And those are not the people under the Abrahamic religions. Okay? The Ham people, right? Nimrod comes from Ham, are the cursed people. Okay? Nimrod comes from the genealogy of Ham, which were the cursed people. The oath of Nimrod is what is taken upon the rulers of the world. Okay? And Nimrod comes from Ham, the cursed people. Jeremiah 43. You guys, open your eyes. And then I'll go further into Japheth. But I know that Japheth was under Shem, so he wasn't cursed. Right? His kingdom was not cursed. But Ham's kingdom, Nimrod's genealogy, are the cursed people. Okay? And Shem, Abraham people are not the cursed one. Ham's people like worshiping the false gods. Shem's people, Abraham, was the promise. They are the ones of the promised land. Okay? Go do your research. Genesis 11, okay, explains who Shem, who his genealogy was. The son of Noah. There's 3. And then go to Jeremiah 43 and find out who is the cursed genealogy. And that's Ham's genealogy. And Nimrod, the great king that wanted to rule the earth and defy God, is from Ham. So if the big powers have you sign an oath of Nimrod, they are part of the Ham genealogy, the ones that were bad and wanted to run this world and deceive people, from religion to politics to everything you think of, all the big stuff. Boom. And Nipsey was killed because he was learning these things and he was a threat. Nipsey couldn't tell us shit. He only told us a little bit. He has so much more to tell us. He was so genius and enlightened. He was going to find out some real shit. And they were scared, like, this nigga's going to tell them the truth. And there's the potential that people are going to believe him. Fuck that. Same thing with Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. I can go down the list. That's a whole nother video. And my videos, this is actually my business page. It's not even for this kind of stuff. But this is the only way to release this shit to you guys. And Nipsey's spirit is upon me beyond. I had a dream about Nipsey, and that at first I wasn't fucking with this stuff at all, because I had noticed some weird things going on, like people calling my phone, different names like Creeper. I even had like some people in the car with me, and they're like, yeah, why did he say that? And just weird random numbers from different areas. I had people outside of my house. It started to be so intense that I had to start telling my family about it, because I didn't understand it. And I'm like, it can't be from this Nipsey thing. I just started to dwindle and like Nipsey stuff, like as far as like who did this, who did that, like trying to investigate, like investigate. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta back up, because this might be bigger than what I thought. Every time I turned around, some man was walking up to me, like telling me I was beautiful on my street, because sometimes I walk, to my car, whatever. I live in LA. So people were coming up to me at gas stations, just weird shit was happening. Like I thought I was going crazy, but these things were really happening. And I don't know if I was thinking them into existence, right? Because life and death is in the power of the tongue, and the tongue comes from the thoughts, right? Or what, but where it should start happening when I start investigating, like checking Nipsey's cameras. Like I went to Shell's gas station. I was just doing a lot of like investigative work. Cause think about it. I mean, investigators just read a book or, had knowledge of how to investigate, but everybody just starts from nothing. So what makes them any better than you? You can do the same shit. I mean, yeah, you are an investigator. Shit, that's how I felt. But I kind of gave that part up because I do realize that that can be very dangerous. Even telling you guys things that I'm telling you could be dangerous, but it shouldn't be. I mean, who am I? So, you guys may not even believe me. But anyways, where shit started to happen to me, and I just was like, I'm just not gonna do that. Like guys were coming up to me, one had on one glove, and I'm like, oh my God, he was trying to talk to me. I'm like, I'm scared of you. And he's like, what you scared of? And I just started running backwards while he just stood there and stared at me like, I don't know, some guy in a big black coat just stood in the middle of my street, like stared at me as I was running that day too. I mean, weird ass shit happened. Anyways, um, I don't want to go into that part of it, but I just want to go into detail of the bigger picture and why this all happened. Anyways, I'm going to talk to you guys about the Oath of Nimrod. Go research the Oath of Nimrod and research a lot of topics that I talked about and figure out for yourself, okay? But this is in regards to the bigger picture, period. This shit ain't small. Have a good night. Love you guys.